We're going to go right to our next guest, Anibal Sower, and he is the junior. And I want to get the junior in because your dad probably wants you to get that junior in. You are the new superintendent. Welcome to Schenectady, first of all. I'm so happy to have you on the show to talk about what's going on with the school district. I can't even imagine what you're going through, first of all, with COVID. Can you give us a brief overview of that? And then we'll talk about what your vision is.
Yeah, so I think, well, first I want to say thanks for having me. It's been a great welcome to the city of Schenectady. Everyone has been so graceful and, very warm reception coming to this amazing city here in the capital region. In regards to COVID, I think we learned a lot over the past year. And so we are working really hard to make sure that we bring our kids back. I think we learned that schools play a big driver in our economy and everything else that kind of goes on in our society. And so not having kids in school, it makes a lot of other things tough for our families, parents, our community. And so our goal has been to bring everyone back safely, and make sure we're following CDC guidelines, New York State DOH guidelines, our local county health department, working with them. And so we're excited that we're returning to in-person starting on the 9th.
And it's good for kids to get that community feel because they were isolated. I don't want to say they were totally isolated because they were doing some of the Zoom classes, but still, it's not quite the same.
Yeah, so I got to agree with you. I think there are some things that we do in school, like social interactions, checking in on kids, being able to feed them and guarantee that kids are getting breakfast and lunch every day, things that schools do for certain families that they rely on. I mean, and not everyone is able to provide 2 meals a day, and we're not also able to check on our kids' well-being. So attendance was also a challenge.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't, I think about schools as like education.
Sure.
The 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, the whole thing, and socialization. But you really fill a different role as well. And that role is that you're seeing a kid coming with a bruise on them. You're seeing kids that don't have breakfast, maybe. So you have a social, I don't say an obligation, but you have a social role in this.
Yeah, I mean, I think schools are responsible for more than just educating kids. Although we don't get trained to necessarily do those things, or we don't sign up to necessarily do those things, but we know we have a bigger responsibility when it comes to moving and supporting our community. And so you're right, I think CPS type of opportunities where we don't know if some kids were abused or left alone, unsupervised. Obviously feeding them is one thing, but social interaction, access to sports, making sure that technology is working. We know that was a big thing that was exposed through the pandemic, was this digital divide that still exists in 2021 for urban communities. And so making sure that our kids have access to the technology. And then I think the other thing is like, eventually we're going to get out of the pandemic. And so making sure our kids are still set up to be successful, whether they're going to be a senior and going on into college, whether they're going into the next grade. And so you've heard a lot of conversations about learning loss. And so we have to do some,
You got to catch up, do catch up.
Yeah. And so, again, we're excited. I know our staff has worked really hard. Our principals have worked really hard to get the buildings to a good spot. Our custodial staff has done great work. We've got some buildings under construction during the time of the shutdown. So we're just excited. Next week's going to be a big week for us.
I think one of the things that happened, and I think with not just schools, but many other places, you found this was the time to take care of the problems you had in your facility. Yeah. That you didn't, like you can't really paint that room while classes are going on. Yeah. I'm not saying painting, but,
yeah, sure.
But those had to be taken. But you came in, when were you hired? Just recently?
July, yeah.
In July.
This is week 7.
So you missed all of the last year with the pandemic, but you were elsewhere. So where did you come from?
So I was a superintendent in Batavia.
Okay, and how did they handle that?
So we were in person. So we went a couple times. We had opportunities where we had to go virtual, but we really worked hard in my previous district to make sure that we had in person. I'm of the belief that if more wealthier, more affluent communities can bring kids in, and so can urban communities. And so, we really worked hard in the city of Batavia to make sure our kids had access to in person. Now, it wasn't every day because of our scale and our size, and social distancing was a big variable there.
I was going to say, because usually you have 25 kids to a class or something, 18 to 25. Right. I'm not sure what it is anymore. I know what it was, but.
Yeah, so now the beautiful thing is that the guidance is 3 feet. So it does give us some more flexibility to make sure the kids are in person. Masking is the number one.
It's very important.
Layered mitigation strategy. So we'll be masked 100% during the school day, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. Obviously, we want more of our students to pursue the route of 12 and up to get vaccinated, our staff to get vaccinated, just because it helps the continuity. And at the end of the day, we don't want no one to get the virus and get really sick.
Well, the one issue with the virus, of course, is that you could be vaccinated but be a carrier.
Sure.
So you could be carrying that to someone, even though you don't know you're carrying it, to someone who is in a very precarious situation that's unvaccinated and thinks they're never going to get it or
Right.
whatever. I mean, I don't know what
Which is
thinking
the role
goes.
of the mask. So even if they are a carrier,
Exactly.
it would prevent some of the aerosol.
It-
that
From,
gets
yeah,
spread.
exactly. So that's why, in a way, it's important. I've been vaccinated twice and probably am looking for a booster. But the point is, I wear a mask if I go into a store, wherever it is. It's like, I don't know, maybe I am carrying it. Maybe I picked it up somewhere. I don't know. But I want to care for my fellow man and to be protective. Kids, of course, are different. The little ones can't get vaccinated, but they can be carriers and they can get this new Delta. So we have to be vigilant as far as that goes.
Yeah, and again, for us, the way out of the dark tunnel of the pandemic and hopefully to get back to some point of, quote unquote normalcy is wearing our mask until the transmission rates get down to a level of, I think it's blue is the color the CDC has, and so we can get down to a low transmission rate.
I think it's about 3% now or something in that area. I can't,
Yeah.
I think 3.8 is what I heard, but I don't know. That changes constantly.
Yeah, so we'll continue to monitor, work with our
Yeah.
local DOH, and I think for us though, the big anxiety point is getting kids back into the building. And I think,
Absolutely.
we forgot that that's the business that we're in, is educating kids, and we have to also be honest that people aren't sequestered in their house and not leaving. So people are doing a lot of activities.
And they're bringing that stuff home and
Right,
giving it
right.
to the kids and the kids pass it. So,
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's one of those
So
things
it's a
that,
fine line, because sometimes we get criticized for like, why are you gonna bring everybody back in? You still got a high transmission rate. But the reality is people aren't sequestered in their homes. So we need kids in the building. We need
Yeah.
to work with them. Our teachers are excited. And for me, the gold standard of teaching and learning is in person.
Right.
Virtual does work and does have some benefits,
if you have to.
but if you have to, or if it's a certain situation, but to be the standard, to check on our kids, we need to be in person.
It's important. All right, now, as a new superintendent,
Sure.
stepping through that door, sitting down in front of your first desk, the first thing with your little, your little clock there and stuff and your pen, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think there's a lot of great promise already in the district. There's a lot of great talent in the district, amazing teachers that I've been able to meet over the last 7 weeks.
You have some really good teachers,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
IT and all, yeah.
And so we have some really committed staff and some committed principals who are just looking for the opportunity to do what's right for kids. And so my job, I feel, is my job is to clear out the roadblocks and make sure that we're providing the right resources, the right funding. If there's any political types of things that we need to encounter, we'll encounter them. But the goal is to move us forward. And we have a theme that we've been kind of launching the school year with, is Schenectady Rising. And so we've taken that mantra, forward, and we're going to lift our district up. We're going to bring our kids back, and we're going to get back to the stories that I hear about how great Schenectady City Schools was, 20, 30 years ago, and that nostalgia that people carry with them today as alumni, that they just love the district, they love this community. And so that's the hope, that's the vision forward.
Well, you've got a wonderful school. I mean, you've got so many programs there. What is it, Blue Roses Theater? You've got a great fine arts department. I don't know whether you're still continuing with that right now, but I mean, you've got a lot of programs that will enrich the students and gives them options. One of the things I feel is though not everybody's going to be college bound, and I don't think they should be, because we need skilled people that can work. And those jobs are not going to go to a foreign country. If you need plumbers, if you need painters, and stuff, you're not going to, it can't be outsourced.
Sure.
So how do you, how is the school looking at that? Are you dealing mainly with BOCES with that, or are you developing your own programs or what?
So the great thing about Schenectady is that we do have some district-based programs at the Steinmetz Career Leadership Academy.
Yeah, oh, they're
And,
culinary.
culinary
Go over
program.
there. Oh, they're
Exactly,
really
yeah.
good.
I've already been told I got to go over there.
Lori Macy is amazing, yeah.
So I've yet to meet Lori, but
Yeah.
I did visit the building. I did meet with the Principal Fields and his team. So we have to make sure that we're telling the story of all the things that we offer and making sure there's connections. I met with the mayor, talked about how we get opportunities for our students to maybe get employment, even over the summer, as even 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds.
They
where
have
can
some
work.
programs, a home build or something, I
Yeah.
think, I can't remember, some places.
So we need to leverage our Steinmetz Career Leadership Academy. We obviously have a relationship with Capital Region BOCES, continue to encourage students to pursue some of those
And
opportunities.
Habitat for Humanity, I think that you've worked with them in the
for
past
doing
as
some
well,
homes,
yeah.
And so I think part of that is connecting. I would say one piece that we're looking for is more community engagement and collaboration. You know, it's one of the 3 things that we're focused on: equity, collaboration, and learning for our district, but really collaborating with some of our community-based organizations and creating opportunities for some of our parents, because we know that some of them may have some challenges with gainful employment.
Absolutely.
And we have a great facility at Washington Irving, our adult education, so figuring out how we maximize that. It's in the city of Schenectady, which is great for, you know, people can walk to it, they can take the bus. So I think there's a lot of opportunity moving forward.
Sounds like you got your work cut out for you, but you know, you got a good attitude. I
Hey,
think,
That's half the battle, right?
yeah, if you've got a good attitude and you feel as though things are moving in a positive direction, and you've got a good staff, you got Karen, I know she's great.
Yeah.
And you've got teachers that are enthusiastic about their classes and their students. And I know that you're working with Al Majid with the Reading is Fun program.
Yeah, we just met with him recently.
Yeah, so there's so many good things going on, and I want to applaud you for
thank
what
you.
you're
Appreciate
doing and wish you good luck and
Yeah.
good future here.
Well, thanks
And
so much.
it's, again, welcome so much to Schenectady.